You're listening to Crystal and Emily on Love Your Shelf, the best librarian podcast in the extensive and highly competitive field of librarian podcasts. Okay, so this is season 2 of Love Your Shelf, and I'm Crystal.
I'm Emily.
And we're going to talk about the stuff that we've been reading and watching and listening to. It's been maybe, a couple months?
It's been a couple of months.
Close to.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. We both have taken some time off, so we haven't seen each other in a while. So, this will all be a surprise.
Yeah, we really haven't been talking about much of this stuff. So
Right.
Usually we have to try to save it up.
I know. I'll have to be like, ooh, I can't talk about it yet.
Save it for the podcast.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I have had really good luck with the books that I've read recently, so I'm going to start with those. The first one is The Witches Are Coming by Lindy West.
Mm-hmm.
And she's hilarious.
Yep. I'm working through this book as well, just for the record. Thanks to you.
Well, good. I'm so glad. I'm glad that you picked it up. I think you'll appreciate it.
So delightful.
And she's she writes sort of mostly memoir, and she has a television show on Hulu called Shrill that has gotten a lot of accolades.
Yeah, I didn't watch season 2 of Shrill, but I loved season 1.
Yeah, I've only just started seeing like 1 or 2 episodes, but it's on my list of things I need to catch up on. So we'll report back on that one.
Yep.
But this is, I won't say too much about it, but it's definitely a feminist take. I think, and it's, referencing the concept of a witch hunt and how that's come to mean something very different from what it used to.
Yes.
And then so she's kind of flipping it on its ear. So that's all I'll say about that one, but it was really good. Yeah,
I'm really enjoying it. And it's an easy read. I love her voice in general. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
The second book that I want to talk about is really, really, really different from the first one that I mentioned. The first one being, nonfiction memoir, and this one is like way far out there, comedy, time travel.
And, nice! You got to keep us on our toes. So thanks for that. That was unexpected.
And it's called "So You Had to Build a Time Machine" by Jason Offutt.
Nice.
And I mean, you can sense the tone, I think, from the title. And there's lots of doubling and crossing paths in time and all kinds of pretty silly stuff that if you were trying to write something serious, I think a lot of that would be too ridiculous. But it fits with the tone, and if you're into that kind of thing, then it's an enjoyable, kind of quick, easy read.
Oh, nice. Good.
Yeah. And then, again, going all over the place, I read a book called Close Your Eyes, Sleep. And it's about...
Close your eyes, sleep.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's reprogramming your mind to fall asleep with hypnosis.
Ooh.
By Grace Smith. But it is actually not published yet. It's a pre-published copy. And so it keeps referencing all of this stuff on a website that you can go and have additional recordings and stuff like that. And the website doesn't exist yet.
Got it. Okay. I was like, and?
So I kind of put it on hold because, I'm interested in a lifelong insomniac. I want to find something that will work. But Nothing has so far in my life.
Yep.
But
Well, what if this is it?
yeah, so uh, anyway, I will report back on that one too. But
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
been
no, I'm
reading the book.
intrigued.
It's the additional parts that I really want. I want to hear the recording. I want to
Yeah, it sounds like that, yeah, is part of the experience, or
exactly.
most of the experience. Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah. And then another nonfiction one that I read, which I think is hilarious, is called Nixon, Niksen,
Uh-huh.
The Dutch Art of Doing Nothing by Annette
Okay.
Laverson.
This is
And
different than Hugo.
yes, but it's totally people that have, because when Hugo came out as a, I don't know, popular
Trend.
trend, exactly. We
Even
started,
though I've been doing that for a really long time now.
yeah, for sure. Same thing with this concept of Nixon too. Although not so much anymore. Actually, I did enjoy reading it, even though I was, kind of thinking, oh, this is going to be just another one of those, riding on the coattails trends or whatever.
Sure.
And it was a little bit. And there are, right now, there are several books coming out about the same thing, just like they did with Yuga. But it's also funny to me, that you'd have to write a book to say sometimes you just need to sit down.
I know. Don't have to tell me twice.
Stare at the wall for 5 minutes, like.
Well, and I think it's funny. It's interesting, that's, I feel like now with COVID and people quarantining and, I don't know, it's kind of reframing being at home for some people, I'm sure. Like, hey, I'm going to try it. For me, I'm a homebody. This is easy. But I think for some people, it might be a little bit of an attempt at reframing being at home and chilling.
Exactly. And really is, that's something that it made me think about while I was reading it, is that, growing up without social media and like just the sheer volume of content,
Right.
we would go outside and sit around and, this is that we would do a lot less consumption of media, obviously,
Yes.
by leaps and bounds. And so it really is like, when I started, I was like, I never just sit and not do anything, because it's always, you've got your phone. So, and I've, how it is, even if you're with somebody else, if they get up and leave the room, then you're checking your phone.
Yeah. Or even
And
if I'm in the car, if I don't have something playing, I'm like, this is weird. So sometimes I'll kind of challenge myself to drive home in silence, because sometimes that's good for you.
Exactly. I mean, you just need that. We're not, I don't think we're really built to take in the amount of stuff that we're taking in.
I think you're right. Absolutely.
Anyway, so there's not a whole lot to it. It's pretty much, you get it from the title, like, just relax, don't do anything for a minute, and make time to do that.
Right.
So, but I think it's a useful reminder, at least.
Yes, absolutely. Always.
I also read a book called, I'll kind of try to go through these more quickly, but a book called Luster by Raven Leilani. And it's come really highly recommended, and it was, well, darkly funny, is what I would say. Same thing with another one that I'll mention, Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. They had sort of a similar, they both have central female characters, and they're both in really unusual circumstances. They're both youngish women. And I don't want to say too much. I will say that in Nothing to See Here, you can get a sense of what it's about just from the cover. So I'm not blowing anything. But it's about a woman who is asked to help out with these two sort of stepchildren from one of her friends. And when they get angry, they catch on fire.
Oh no, don't you hate that?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt them, but they, spontaneously combust or whatever.
Oh God. Well, and okay, is this a world where something like that could potentially happen? Okay, got it.
No, it's totally like like our concept of reality.
Don't you hate when you accept a babysitting job and the kids catch fire when they pitch a fit?
Exactly. Oh man. It reminded me parts of this time. One time here in the library, it was like a Saturday, and this young woman came in and she was babysitting for these two small kids. I mean, like maybe 3, 4, 5, something like that. And I've never seen anything quite like it.
Oh my goodness.
These two kids just fully rebelled and went absolutely nuts.
They went rogue.
They were so rogue. They were running, sprinting up and down the aisles. And she was just, you could see she was like, I don't have any idea what to do.
Oh,
yes.
No.
Like when we would try to get them to stop, they would hide under the tables.
Oh God. And if you're not their parent, I mean, you don't necessarily feel like you can,
well, you can't
manhandle them, kicking and screaming.
Exactly.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a problem. But it made me think about that, like just that, like those, barriers or boundaries that you can't really cross because that's not your kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot of that, and otherwise it's a thought-provoking book, and there's a lot of other things that happen. So it's, that's kind of the central thing, but it is very grounded in the relationships of the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. I think that sounds really interesting. I love a story. I mean, I love that it doesn't take place in a fantastical world. I love that it's something super weird.
Yes.
In our world.
And so they have to hide it,
Right. Because... Nothing to see here. I see.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
The last one I'll mention is probably my second favorite behind Nothing to See Here. Is called The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. And it's about a college campus where the students essentially have what they find out is a transmissible disease, but it starts with this one girl just falls asleep and doesn't wake up, but she's still sleeping. So yeah, so she doesn't, it's like a new kind of virus or whatever. And it is very atmospheric, and there's a lot of different characters, but they all sort of give you a different picture of what this would look like.
Right.
And it was written a year or two ago, and there's so much in it about pandemics and how they quarantine the town and what they do before they know what they have on their hands,
right.
So it was really amazing. There's been so many things like that.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Since the pandemic.
And I have not partaken in any of those. I've been like, la la la, this is escapism. But I don't know. I think that's an interesting idea for, I don't know, sleeping, like you're just sleeping, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty style.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I highly recommend it unless you're, got your fingers in your ears.
Right.
Don't want to hear about it.
You can just tell me in great detail. That's cool.
So what have you been reading?
Well, I am chugging along in my Louise Penny series. So I'm on book number 10, The Long Way Home. Again, if you're trying to relax, it's a great little cozy mystery series. I adore the characters. I adore the town that it's surrounded by. I recommend that once again. And again, you already mentioned The Witches Are Coming. I'm a little bit into that one, and I'm really enjoying it, as I said. So yeah, that's, as we know, I'm a slow reader. I take my time. I'm really branching out by reading 2 books at the same time.
Yeah, the Louise Penny series, I guess I listened to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's charming. And what's funny to me is like the concept of a cozy mystery and we may have mentioned this before,
Uh-huh.
we probably have mentioned it before. It's still murder
I
involved.
know. Like, I don't know how to spin that in any good way, because it's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not. Um, but that being said, there are a lot of people super interested in that right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like in the last, I don't know, 10 years, might even be 5 years, true crime, murder mysteries, I feel like have just really exploded.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here for it, especially in a cozy way. So yeah, I super
Yeah.
recommend that series.
Well, what have you been watching or listening to?
Watching. So I have my comfort show and then my new show. So
Okay.
my comfort show, I've gone back to Friday Night Lights. I watched that series when it was on. I was in early college when it ended. And then Nick and I watched it when we were living in New York. And it was just such a delightful way to remember Texas. It's about Texas football. And, if you grew up in Texas, you will understand the people in this town. You feel like you know the people in this town. It's just such a great series. I recommend it to everyone. Um, as for my new series, season 3 of Killing Eve is on Hulu. Killing Eve is maybe one of my favorite series in the last few years. It is just so clever. It keeps you on the edge. You're on the edge of your seat, but it's not too, it's not so gory and disgusting that you have to hide your eyes all the time. At least so far in season 3. I don't know, what the rest holds. But anyway, and both the other 2 seasons ended in a way where you are just like, where are they gonna go from here? It's just, I don't know. It's hard to predict. I love that. It's funny. It's written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who created Fleabag. If anyone has ever seen Fleabag on Amazon Prime, that, in
Yeah.
itself, I recommend. It's so good.
Yeah.
But Phoebe Waller-Bridge is just incredible. She's so smart. I love her style. So she's created this show that is, everything opposite of Fleabag. So Killing Eve, watch it on Hulu. I can't recommend that enough. And
Yeah.
you've watched Killing Eve, right?
I haven't watched the most recent season,
Okay,
but
yes. Oh,
I'm
wait,
ready
that's
for it.
right. I always tell people I met you because of Killing Eve. Before I had
Yeah.
my job here, I came to the library and requested the book from you. So,
Yeah. And we just started another one in the series for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to catch up on the books. I've only read the first one. And the books are different enough from the series that you can enjoy both. You feel like you're getting enough of a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I like that. I don't want to just read exactly the same thing or
Yeah,
watch exactly the same
exactly.
thing.
Exactly. And then last, I have caught up on Saturday Night Live. They have started doing live shows again, not from home. They're
Mm-hmm.
in the studio. It looks like they're, keeping, I'm sure they're all around each other, so they're sort of in their own bubble. But I think the audience is pretty sparse and
Yeah.
masked. But anyway, they've still got it. I'm enjoying Saturday Night Live a lot. So if you haven't
Yeah,
seen it in
it's
a
been pretty
while,
good.
yeah, check it out. I really like the cast that they have right now. So
Yeah. And you could kind of sense, especially now that they're coming back to live the energy there is really
Yes.
strong because
Yes. Yes,
you know,
exactly. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're excited to be back together and in front of an audience. And
yeah.
I just think it would be so hard to be funny or try to be funny without an audience, trying to be funny
Mm-hmm.
looking at your computer screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It would be terrible.
exactly.
It's like us trying to be funny on a podcast.
Yeah, it's super hard, you guys.
Well, we're just, staring into the distance.
Yep.
Not looking at each other.
Laughing at my own jokes. Yeah. What else is new, though?
I mean, it is insight into our true selves,
yep,
I guess.
It's true. This is who I am. But anyway, that's what I have. What about you? What have you been watching?
I actually watched a movie, which I haven't been doing lately. And it's called The Family Fang. And it's
Fang, F-A-N-G?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's based on a novel by Kevin Wilson, who wrote There's Nothing to See Here. And which I haven't read that book yet, but I ordered it because I'm curious about him now. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
But the movie has Nicole Kidman and Jason Bateman and Christopher Walken and a huge, another, a really great cast. But
yeah,
Jason Bateman and Nicole Kidman play siblings who their parents were performance artists when they were young, and then the parents, as when the kids are adults, they disappear. And so it's a little mysterious.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they had really super odd upbringing, and so there's flashbacks to all this performance art, and so it's funny and dark, and it's definitely right in that same line that the book was, and so I would recommend it. It was I was really amazed that I hadn't even heard of that movie with such a big name cast.
Big cast, and it sounds like a really cool story.
Yeah,
that's
just kind of like an indie movie. In fact, I think Jason Bateman directed it.
Oh, really? How old is it? When did it come out?
Just 2 or 3 years ago, I think.
Okay, yeah. Is it on Netflix?
It's not, actually. It's on Hoopla. Which is I have through a library account.
Oh, cool.
Which you can get. This is a little extra insider tidbit of, you can people here in Texas can get a library card through Houston Public Library and Harris County Public Library and get access to all of their digital materials. So
that's through them? Oh, that's cool.
And I am into some these oddball films and stuff, but we never got the service for our library because it's rather expensive, and we felt that there were a lot of, it was more second, third tier kind of movies,
right.
Every once in a while you'll find a gem in there, so it's worth it. I keep an app that I've mentioned before called Just Watch, that if you hear of a movie, you can put that in there and search it and find out where it's streaming.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And so that's how I discovered it.
Cool.
That it was on Hoopla.
Well, I'm making note of it. I'll find a way to watch it. That sounds cool.
Yeah. I also watched a series that everybody's talking about right now, The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, yes. I actually have one episode left. For some reason, I haven't watched that last episode, but man, I love it.
It is, what I really enjoyed about it was just the more of the atmosphere. I was talking to my sister about it because I had sort of recommended it after I'd watched the first episode. I was like, hey, you should check this out. And we both were discussing it later and said, there's so much chess playing.
So much. And I don't even know how to play chess. get
I'm
the
not a chess
idea, but
player.
no, but you are still right there with them. Like, I'm still
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'm picking up the vibe. Okay.
Yeah. But then, there's, the time period, and as
Mm-hmm.
a historical sort of, looking at that era, that was
Yeah,
interesting to me. But
I agree.
yeah, so
And that actress, what is her name?
I don't remember.
She's also in the new, they remade Emma, the Jane
Oh,
Austen book. I just watched it on HBO. And she plays Emma and was really wonderful in it too. I'm just kind of like, where did she come from? She's fantastic.
yeah. No, that was the first thing I'd seen her in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she's great.
Yeah. I'll just mention a couple more things, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have still a ton left to talk about because it's
It's
been a
been a
couple
while.
months.
I know. That was my thing is I was like, man, I don't even remember. I'm just going to talk about what I'm looking at right
The
now.
main things,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll come back to some of this, but another one that was sort of highly stylized and atmospheric was Ratched on Netflix,
Yeah. I think
and
I told you I'm afraid to go there.
I wouldn't recommend it for you.
You know.
I
Yeah,
would
you
say
know.
it is. It's hard to look at sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's set in a mental institution, and of course the character is based on the character Nurse Ratched from
Mm-hmm.
One
Mm-hmm.
Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and but it's an amazing cast. It's so like richly stylized,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not at all like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, by the way, but
Right. Right.
at least in the way that it looks, and because that
Yeah.
movie's like gritty and dark, and
And this looks, at least from the cover that I've seen, it's brighter colors
yeah,
and yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, but if you are a fan of that, or a fan of, I don't know, that sort of period, in fashion, like the fashion is unbelievable.
See,
It's
and that's the thing is like, if it wasn't about like lobotomies, I think I would really like it. Like, it seems like
yeah,
my kind of show otherwise, but I'm good.
yeah. Maybe they just need to start making like an Emily edit.
I would love that. An edit for sensitive eyes.
Right. Yeah. Cut off the patient torture parts, and
Yes.
just leave it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that would be probably half as long.
Right.
Cut
Well,
all
yeah.
that
And
stuff
see,
out.
that's why I'm like, I feel like this is kind of a big part of it. It's all right.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave it there, and then we will come back next week to catch up some more.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that we should mention, or
Plug.
yeah?
Well, I mean, I've got. I'm back at story time. If any parents are out there, you can register for story time.
Yeah. And we're doing an escape room.
Oh man, I'm
Speaking of
excited.
creepy stuff and lots of color
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and stylization, we're gonna do a carnival escape room,
Yep.
and yeah, so we're slowly working on reopening the library. We're open to patrons now, and
By
people can come in.
appointment. I think that's,
Yes,
yeah. People are.
yes, people can come in and use the computer or come in to browse and check things out. But we are closing periodically throughout the day to disinfect. So we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to, do our best
Yes.
to, maintain that line between serving and protecting.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Although we've never really used that as a tagline, but
I
hey,
know,
it works
but
for libraries too.
it's kind, yeah, right in a way.
All right. Well, we'll sign off, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye. Afraid you missed one of our scintillating selections? check out wakelet.com and you'll find a collection of all of the titles that we have mentioned on our podcast.